Buddy, that was Ed Ferrara in that gimmick doing announcing with us was freaking hilarious. Was hilarious. I don't always agree with him making fun of JR's condition, but him doing the voice and talk, it just was wonderful. Now, oh brother.
You know, if we want JR more on our shows, maybe we just hire Ed Ferrara.
Oh, now will you stop?
What?
My
See,
goodness.
listen, wear the hat low. Wear the hat low, and nobody may know the difference.
Does he still have dreadlocks, or did he get rid of those?
Ed?
Yeah.
JR?
Ed is we saw, do you remember we did Bruce Pritchard's show in Orlando during WrestleMania week?
Yeah, but I don't know. That was 7 years ago. You could grow hair in 7 years.
Yeah, Ed was completely shaved bald. We saw him then. It's the last time I saw Ed. Wonder what's he doing now? Anybody know?
I think he's waiting on the call.
Yeah. Vince Russo sleeps with goats. How about that sign? I don't know where you guys are, but that's what I see right now.
I don't think he does, though. Just so
I don't either, but I wonder what would, why would someone do that?
Poor goats.
Wow.
No, I mean, no, honestly, like, and it's funny because Tony, remember I was talking about hate watching earlier, Conrad?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you know, this Vince Russo made me hate watch. If there's one person who ruined my love of professional wrestling for a long time, it was Vince Russo.
Wow.
Remarkably so. The way that he destroyed what was left of WCW and the way that the matches were done and everything about it was just so horrendous. And then for him to work in Impact at TNA, whatever you want to call it, I knew they were doomed right from the start there as well.
Wow.
I mean, just incredible. And my history with Vince Russo honestly goes back to when he was owning a video store in the early 1990s and was feuding with John Arezzi at the time. And I used to write a wrestling newsletter when I was in college called 3 Count. I know both of you were subscribers to that.
Absolutely.
And my own dirt sheet, and had interviews with those folks. And it was interesting. And it's nothing personal against Vince Russo. I've interviewed him before. I have no personal grudge against the man. But his ideas just absolutely drove me away from what I loved about professional wrestling. And really, it wasn't until, and I had stopped watching altogether by the time I stopped writing my column in about 2011. And it was Tony Khan who brought me back. He said, look, New Japan is incredible. And I've been familiar with Japanese wrestling ever since I was in high school in the 1980s. But it was Tony who said, you really ought to give this a try. And I said, okay. And the first match I saw on Access was Shinsuke Nakamura against Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you know what? I could dig this. So I started watching New Japan again. It started whetting my interest a bit. Then Tony and I, when we're out on the road, would watch wrestling together, and he would pick matches that he really enjoyed, and we'd go down that rabbit hole. And then ultimately led to, what would be the formation of AEW.
Mm-hmm. Well, to respond to all that, I will never say anything bad about Vince Russo. As Booker, he made some decisions that didn't work. A lot of decisions that didn't work. What Booker didn't. But I consider him a friend. I will never say anything bad about him because of the way he treated me.
Sure.
And I still consider him a friend, although I haven't, as you know, Conrad, I don't talk to friends.
At all, ever.
At all. I haven't talked to him, but Vince was my friend, and Vince supported my career. He really did. When there were people behind the scenes who had some influence, not saying names, who had some influence that really wanted me off TV, Vince made sure while he was booking that I stayed on TV. He said, because you know how to sell a product. And that was the name of your newsletter, 3 Count?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was goddamn Alex Marvez. I thought that was the name of your.
No, that was the actual in print newspaper column.
Okay. All
back
right.
in the day that would show up in Atlanta,
Right.
Over at the TBS studios and read by the executives there back in the day when people weren't writing wrestling columns. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
You remember
There
that.
you go.
Hey, there's General Erection.
Huh. What time code? What time code are we?
What a name. Yeah, I'm at 3526.
35. Okay. Yeah, I'm there. Okay.
let's
By the way, Jeff Jarrett, amazing. You know,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, as much as I want to bury Vince Russo, just for wrestling stuff, nothing personal, but Jeff Jarrett's unbelievable. Having the chance to work, around him and see him behind the scenes, this is one of the smartest people
It is.
I have ever met.
Me too.
He is brilliant. First, incredible recall on everything.
Yeah.
And I play this day in Jeff Jarrett history with him backstage. I head over to cagematch.net, whatever city we're in. And I always ask him, who's the first person you wrestled here? Usually he'll remember who it was, even though it was probably in the early 1990s. And to just keep going the way that he has, I am such a fan of his. I enjoy it. And by the way, there is no bigger sports fan than Jeff Jarrett. None. I love the fact that you will see him sometimes sitting there at, after the show, if, the hotel restaurant is open, which unfortunately lately doesn't happen a heck of a lot, but he'll be there and he'll be streaming something. What is it? It'll be his daughter's basketball game, or watching local Nashville sports, could be high school stuff. I mean, he loves the pros and all that, but this is just someone who's so passionate about that as well outside of pro wrestling. But he has been a real asset to our company behind the scenes, at AEW. And he gets who he is. And, for someone who, grew up in the wrestling business the way that he did to still be going strong, I think is an absolute unbelievable thing for Jeff Jarrett.
I don't think we use him enough, to be honest with you, behind the scenes, because he has obviously grew up in the business and has a great deal of knowledge of what works and what doesn't. I'm not talking creatively. I'm talking about any aspect of the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about it too. He is probably doing less in the ring than he ever has. But has he been more over in terms of what it is that he does? Right. I mean, it's smart. You don't need to kill yourself necessarily to have an amusing, entertaining wrestling match.
Right.
And I think Jeff Jarrett has proved that he can still wrestle. But the stuff that he does and the stuff he provides, I still think is awesome. By the way, was it Sting or Steve Farmer who wrestled in Greensboro? I'm just trying to figure that
out. Can you imagine if we did fake Sting's last match? That's what we should do.
Fake Sting's last match.
At the next Starcast, we'll do Jeff Farmer's last match.
Yeah.
And we'll have the ghost of Beetlejuice, Art Barr.
I was gonna say we could have the Nature Boy Paul Lee there in his corner.
Oh. Paul Lee. Thank you for bringing up that name for me.
It's your favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah.